Peter John Ross hosts a roundtable discussion with my casting crew from the short film The Funny Man.
They say that everyone's life is like a book. The pages are days, the chapters are years. Some have happy endings and some are tragic. And hell, let's be honest, some just make for a dull and boring read. But every character in every book has a routine. For me, it's a morning run, a feeble but consistent attempt at exercise, right down to the daily wave to Mrs. Cross, a fitting name for the neighbor lady who sits on her front porch like a sentinel, never waves back at me. Hell, I don't know why. Some things in life you try to figure out, others you just acknowledge. But with me, acknowledgement usually comes with a big side dish of denial. And trust me, I know a lot about denial.
Who came up with the idea for The Funny Man?
That would be Mr. McGrainer.
I was sitting in a fast food Italian restaurant, so we can't say names. But and I was hearing this music playing, just, I don't know, Italian operatic music. And I just thought of this. Everything I do starts with a picture in my mind, and I try to build some kind of story around it so I could shoot that picture. And so I went home and put in an opera called Symphony of Sorrowful Songs on loop and wrote this 6-page story about a man that's kind of a semi-celebrity comedian. And by observing comedians, just they seem like they are pretty down.
Depressive lot?
They seem like, it seems like the joke is on stage and everybody's laughing, but having all these people laughing at you is also like, I mean, when they come off the stage, it's like...
Sad clowns,
Yep.
laughing on the outside, crying on the inside. And then he brought the 6-page story to me, and the first thing I said was like, dude, what, this is how you think I am, a sad, depressed person? He goes, no. Remember,
so it's not always about you.
You were qualifying it, remember? You said, no, I didn't write about you. It's like the similarities, come on. I mean, it was about a stand-up comedian who had that not quite broken through type of success, still paying the bills, successful in that respect, and that he's making a living at it, but kind of missed that opportunity to bust out. And so, and that's what I did. I did stand up for years and opted to, instead of continuing to pursue that career, opted for the radio career, which turned out very nicely. No
But you
complaints.
still do stand-up, right?
Still love stand-up, yeah.
You still do, like, you host the local
Still
comedians?
host on Thursday nights just to keep my foot in the water, and I keep writing stand-up. So yeah, it's still my first love as far as writing goes, because the immediacy of it's terrific. But I did identify with the character he was talking about, because I've seen comedians like that. I've seen
career comedians.
They're career comics. So the guy that he initially was talking about is out there, and I think what The Funny Man is probably, after we took another swipe at rewriting it, it's a kind of a combination of all those people that I've met over the course of the years, and probably a little bit of myself in there too, because if you ask anybody who's been off their game for 6 months, no matter what that game is, they'll tell you that first step back is less than steady. Awkward, in fact. Making me pine for a change in venue, one with more familiarity. Because nothing about this feels familiar. And then it happens. The glass of wine purchased, you're told, by the beautiful stranger. I'm stymied by the role reversal, and after 6 months of no game, I've got to decide if I've got to play. Shouldn't I be sending you the drink?
From where I was sitting, it didn't look like you were doing much of anything. That's why I sent it over. You look sort of sad. Almost like a painting.
Pitiful sad, or lost my grandma sad?
Well, I don't know. Did your grandmother die?
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
Ah, then I guess that just leaves pitiful.
Did you do rehearsals?
We did one. We just read through, but I think we talked a lot more than we read through.
That was the thing I was noticing. Like, I was working with Wayne to get the shots ready, and they just, the greatest thing is they were just talking as people because they didn't know each other, and so it was just kind of like, it was just, they had just met, and they had just met in the movie, and I thought it just I think it clicked because of that. I mean, it was kind of cool. I had never seen.
One thing I like to
anything.
rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse until I feel really, really, really good about it. But I think in this instance, it was good that we only read through it maybe once. So there was still this. We still weren't familiar with each other.
Spontaneity of it.
Yeah, we still weren't quite familiar with each other. Like when you really do meet somebody for the first time, that was just, I think, really there.
And I'm not big on the whole, like, stick to the script anyway. I mean, if you're feeling it and it's more natural for you to be yourself and say what you would say as that, that's so much cooler to me.
Well, we cut a lot of it. Yeah.
Speaking of cutting,
Cut a lot of it. It could have been a feature. If we would have kept all the restaurant scenes in, it would have been a feature. It wouldn't have been a good feature, but it would have been a feature. It was too long.
People would be like,
It was-
serious?
Yeah.
Serious.
It did feel like we did one movie and then sort of started on another one when we got into the restaurant scene because it was a whole different thing.
whole different feel for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, and I knew it was coming and I liked that. And they had a rough cut when they brought me in.
I was introduced to Matt through Dino. Like they had known each other from the Funny Bone, and he took a look at the rough cut. I was like, see this whole last stuff? We just kind of have to rebuild that, but like in a completely different way.
And he didn't tell me that until, he was just like, just watch this and see what you think. And I was like, the last half I don't like. I was just initially just came off that way, and they were like, okay, good, because we reshot it, and that's why we need you to do this. So I was like, okay, cool.
It's like, we didn't like it either.
And
so.
it just, I don't know, I really liked it because it's like this whole story of him and his everyday routine, and then you just sort of stop and take one night, and the story unfolds right there.
Yeah, I've discussed this with you before. I've always wanted to go back in and find some way to just use that second half of the film and find some intro that makes that second half. See, he hates that because he feels like I'm stealing his first half of the film away from him.
No. I don't feel like it's. I just as two separate films. Like I just know that
not to be two separate films,
right? Yeah.
But since it does feel like two different movies, and that whole restaurant thing is kind of self-contained, if there was something that was written beforehand to set up just that him, where his head's at before he goes to that restaurant.
I don't think it should
And this
be
is where it gets into
two different
saving.
movies. I think you need that whole. I think everything, because you're the main character, and then you're following you and your sort
But
of
think about
story,
the
and then
cost you would save, because then I can shoot my original ending to go with the first half of the movie, and he could shoot a precursor to his, and we'd have two new movies, but save
Hell,
cost
we'd
on half
have
the
3
footage.
all along.
Still watch the